The bitter tang of coffee wove its weary tail across the creased, time-worn lips of Philip Rivers. His eyes, brimming with an ageless, obstinate determination, flickered over the daunting sprawl of clippings, notes, and grotesque crime scene photographs. A dilapidated diner on Main Street, a sanctuary of neon and nostalgia, swallowed him in its fluorescent womb. Shadows danced on his haggard face as the sleepy town of Urbandale slumbered in silence under a star-dusted sky. Philip, a relic of the ink-stained journalistic old guard, was a figure who bore the enduring scars of his past as an armor against the ravages of the world. His gnarled hands, marred by a history of poverty and addiction, bore testament to his past as they gripped the coffee mug with white-knuckled resolve. It was an addiction he had wrestled with and overthrown, a demon slain yet lurking ever in the periphery of his memory. Between slow sips, his gaze oscillated from the neon-rimmed clock to the torrent of evidence before him. His thoughts, like restless phantoms, danced around the labyrinthine puzzle that these murders represented. As each tick-tock of the clock merged into an amalgam of time, his mind plunged into the chilling abyss of the case. "Why Urbandale?" he whispered to himself, his voice fraying at the edges. His eyes fell upon the omnipresent center of the horrors, a mental asylum with its looming Gothic facade as if ripped from a Lovecraftian nightmare. As he traced the silhouette of the building in a grainy photograph, his heartbeat quickened, a symphony of fear and anticipation echoing through his veins. His journalistic journey led him to the gates of the archaic institution. His footsteps, crunching on the autumn-kissed leaves, echoed like an ominous prelude. Dr. Lucy Meadows, a figure as austere as the asylum itself, greeted him, her frosty eyes hiding a tumult of secrets beneath the icy veneer. Their acquaintance was born from necessity, a reluctant dance between a relentless journalist and a psychiatrist guarding her citadel of madness. "Do the dead whisper to you, Mr. Rivers?" Her voice rang through the hollow halls, sending echoes rippling through the silent dread. "Only when they have a story to tell, Dr. Meadows," he responded, his tone a cocktail of professional curiosity and a stubborn will to excavate the truth. Their dialogue, tense and seeped in dread, was a dance around the macabre spectacle of the asylum. It began a partnership, a union against the looming horrors. As he returned to his lonely vigil at the diner, the fragments of the day began to coalesce into a singular realization. This was more than just a mystery, more than just a story to narrate. It was a descent into a cryptic labyrinth of cosmic horror, a terrifying dance that beckoned him closer to the brink of sanity, on the precipice of an unfathomable abyss. Daylight found itself locked out of Urbandale, struggling to pierce the morose veil of fog that had blanketed the town. As a new day dawned, Lucy Meadows' delicate facade began to shatter, revealing chinks in her armor. In the sterile confines of the asylum, in her secret chamber of horrors, she stole clandestine moments, her voice weaving a dark symphony over a secured line. Her words, laced with foreboding, danced in the ether, settling like dread-filled dew on the listener's end. Philip, meanwhile, cloaked in his relentless pursuit, found solace in the pages of the past, wading through the asylum's records that reeked of mildew and buried secrets. His skin prickled with an icy dread as he began to perceive the intricate patterns connecting the victims, their lives reduced to a sickening chorus of the entity's gruesome symphony. He could almost hear the cosmic puppeteer, the entity from beyond, strumming the taut strings of fate. His mind echoed with a cacophony of half-remembered nightmares and newly born terrors. Yet within the chaos, one fact became as piercing as a scream in the silence. These murders were not the works of a madman, but a prelude to something far more malevolent. The partnership between Philip and Lucy evolved in a firm relationship. Philip, in his solitude, often found himself poring over his notes in the silent sanctuary of the diner. His weary eyes would occasionally flit to the chair opposite him, a chair Lucy had occupied, her words still echoing in the silence. He found an ally in her, a confidant, his instincts as a journalist pacified by her shared dedication to the truth. "I've never seen such horror, Lucy," he admitted one evening, his fingers tracing the rim of his coffee cup. "This entity, it's like nothing I've ever encountered." Lucy, bathed in the flickering neon, responded, her voice an unsettling whisper. "We are on the precipice of understanding, Philip. Of truths mankind was never meant to uncover." Her words, laced with a dread-infused curiosity, acted as a balm to his mounting anxiety. A photograph of the latest victim caught his eye, a haunting familiarity in the face staring back at him. A sudden chill ran down his spine as a name echoed in his mind, a name he knew all too well, his own. His fight against time was not merely to reveal the truth, but to save his very life. As he grappled with this revelation, the stage was set for the cruel dance to continue, pulling him further into the abyss, towards the cosmic marionette show. The nefarious silhouette of the asylum loomed under a moonless sky, an imposing figure whispering of darkness and unseen horrors. This monument to despair, with its intricate network of shadowy corridors and echoing chambers, was an unwitting stage for the macabre dance of the cosmic marionettes. Here, under Lucy's orchestration, the strings of destiny were being manipulated, the grotesque ballet reaching a fevered pitch. In the spectral pallor of the dimly lit reading room, Philip grappled with the whispers that danced around him. His name, a chilling echo among the victims, gnawed at the edges of his sanity, a brutal realization that sent icy tendrils of fear snaking down his spine. The relentless journalist, the scribe against the abyss, was no longer a mere observer, but an integral part of this cosmic charade. Simultaneously, the asylum's cold, secretive chambers bore witness to Lucy's machinations. Her hands, once nurturing, were now puppeteers' tools, intricately working the invisible strings of the entity. The glacial mask of professionalism had slipped, revealing a face marred by a dark obsession. As their paths crossed within the asylum, their conversation bore the weight of the world. Philip, his face a canvas of fear and bewilderment, confronted Lucy, his words stumbling out in a rush. "My name, Lucy, it was amongst the victims." "Why?" Lucy, her frosty eyes ablaze with a malicious gleam, replied, her voice a chilling whisper in the hollow silence. "Oh, Philip, you were always more than a mere spectator in this macabre theater," she said. The words hung in the air, the silence of the asylum shattered by the revelation of the betrayal. The shock that swept over him was palpable, a tide of betrayal that threatened to pull him under. His struggle with addiction, his past scarred by poverty, all seemingly exploited by someone he had started to trust. Yet, amid the whirlwind of emotions, the entity stirred, its eldritch voice resonating in the hollows of his mind. The dread-filled whispers grew more insistent, pulling him into a malignant embrace. Each whispered tale seemed to claw at his sanity, creating a terrifying spectacle of cosmic horrors in his mind's eye. As he succumbed to the entity's call, Lucy looked on, a cruel smile playing on her lips. Her betrayal had served its purpose, and the stage was set for the final act. The shadows of Urbandale slumbered under a darkened sky, a somber shroud draping the town in anticipation. The asylum, once an imposing figure of dread, now loomed like a monstrous puppet master, its threads of horror spreading across the town. Its halls echoed with an eerie silence, a hushed prelude to the impending finale. Within its ominous embrace, Philip, the determined journalist, found himself at the precipice of the unknown. His thoughts were a tumultuous sea, the waves of betrayal crashing against the shores of his crumbling resolve. Lucy's treachery gnawed at him, a fresh wound that threatened to reopen the scars of his past. The entity's whispers had grown louder, a ceaseless drone that bore into his very being. His every memory, every struggle, every victory seemed to act as a beacon for the entity. Its voice was no longer a whisper, but a thunderous roar that echoed in the vastness of his psyche. Lucy watched as he grappled with the mounting cacophony, her eyes reflecting the malevolent glee of a puppeteer witnessing her marionette dance to her tune. Their final conversation within the asylum walls was steeped in the bitter brew of betrayal and despair. "You led me here, Lucy," his voice echoed, a cocktail of fear and anger. "You played me, and you danced so beautifully, Philip," she retorted, a sadistic pleasure radiating from her. Now it's time for the grand finale. Philip, teetering on the brink of insanity, was faced with the horrifying reality, a confrontation with the entity. His desperate bid to salvage the truth was now a struggle for his very soul. He found himself being pulled towards the entity, its eldritch allure gnawing at his sanity. Then, in a twist of cosmic irony, the entity revealed itself, not as a monstrous figure, but as a reflection of his struggles, a spectral mirror of his childhood poverty, his battle with addiction, his relentless quest for truth. His fear began to ebb away, replaced by a strange sense of kinship, a perverse fascination. The entity, with its cosmic horror, began to feel less alien and more like a grotesque extension of his own existence. As his resistance crumbled, he found himself succumbing to the entity's call. He allowed the cosmic horror to envelop him, his soul merging with the unfathomable abyss. His final act, a chilling testament to his transformation, echoed through the asylum, its walls resonating with the culmination of the cosmic dance. When dawn finally broke over Urbandale, it found the town forever changed. Its once persistent scribe was now a disciple of the cosmic horror, a chilling reminder of mankind's insignificance in the grand cosmic play. As the last echoes of the entity's triumphant roar faded into silence, the remnants of his humanity were lost to the abyss, marking the end of the dance of the cosmic marionettes. The once quaint town woke to a new era, where its darkest nightmares and a fallen hero lurked in the corners, a horrific crescendo to the symphony of cosmic horror. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.